Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's been quite a while since I've made any videos at all. I think I made one like the first day of the year, then the second day of the year, and then I stopped. And so the last time you saw me, I might have had like no hair at all, but now I'm growing a little hair back, and I just had to dust off this microphone a little bit, but I have a huge surprise. That's why I want to make this video. We're going to see how long I can talk for. Hopefully it'll be a short video to give you just a glimpse of what I'm planning over summer. And so I dug this map out of my great-grandfather's genealogy material here. This is the Kentucky Holy Land, the Holy Land of Kentucky. And you can just see right here all of the different churches. There is 1, 2, 3, 4. It would take forever to count, but we're going to have a Kentucky Holy Land conference stretching from Nelson County down to Marion County and Washington County, and to have this conference right before the grand 250th celebration of the founding of our country on the 4th of July. That's the 250th anniversary since 1776. And so we're going to tie in patriotism, but also this local history, this history of our area. If you're from here, the Kentucky Holy Land, and maybe you're watching from afar, this will be a national conference as well, where we hope to show just how valuable this land was to our ancestors. They were going out west. They were traveling past the 13 colonies after our independence was won from Great Britain. The reason they didn't do that before was because Great Britain had treaties with the Indians that told them we weren't going to cross these Allegheny Mountains, but the American colonists, once the war was won, those treaties no longer applied to them, they thought at least. And so they started to travel past these mountains and settle here in Kentucky. And so the church naturally followed society. The American Catholic Church settled in Kentucky. They settled in this exact area of Nelson County. And this is where there are all kinds of churches. There's a monastery. There is the birthplace of the Dominicans in the United States. There are all kinds of like sister convents and all of that. And just so much like Catholicism, you wouldn't believe it. Like the small little 3-county area compared to the rest of America. But if you look on a map, just like going statistically, you have like all kinds of Protestantism and then just these 3 areas, the Kentucky Holy Land, a lot of Catholicism. And the word Kentucky means the dark and bloody land. This was an Indian battleground, Kentucky. No Indians actually lived here, at least in the centuries before the Revolution. And all of a sudden, you have the Catholic Church coming here to spread light, to establish light, and to act as sort of a base of operations for the rest of the American Catholic Church. So much of the Catholic Church comes from this area. Bishop Flagey, he was a bishop over like 40 current dioceses. Like today, the land for those dioceses, the area for those dioceses, he controlled that much. So he was the bishop of the land all the way up to Michigan, down to Tennessee, and kind of, yeah, all over. But especially here in Bardstown, where he had built the first cathedral for his new diocese, the Diocese of Bardstown. You don't really hear that name much anymore. The first dioceses were Baltimore, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, and then Bardstown, this small town out in the middle of nowhere. But actually, Bardstown is getting some more recognition in recent times because it was named the most beautiful small town in America just in the last few years by a newspaper. And also, just the tourism with the bourbon industry and other things, the history, there's Civil War history here. Lots of that. And so the birthplace of Abraham Lincoln, can't forget that. And with this conference, it would be ideal to tie in all of that together. And so it's a conference of faith, patriotism, and restoring devotion to Jesus Christ, who can bring light to the world. Let me see. This video is already 4 minutes long. Should I give you maybe a glimpse of how the format will go? I think I can do that quickly. And so on Friday, June 12th, that's going to be the feast day of the Sacred Heart of Jesus around the entire world in the church. And the United States bishops this year, I was actually thinking of this conference a little before, so I didn't plan to have it, but it works out perfectly because they're planning to get together to consecrate America to the Sacred Heart for this 250th anniversary. So they're going to have a big event. I think it's going to be something the church is going to pay attention to. And we're going to be able to have this special, you could say, revival of faith, this restoration of fervor with faith in this Kentucky Holy Land, really this birthplace for the American Catholic Church, in the same way that Israel was maybe the birthplace for the rest of the church and Western civilization. Of course, we also come from Maryland, so there's going to be some of that history tied in. Like when people come here from maybe different states, like there's going to be some workshops and breakout rooms that will talk about just kind of the significance, like for other places. And I think anyone will be able to enjoy this, especially if you're from the outside. You'll be able to see some of these places that you may have heard about before. If you're a local, you'll be able to kind of meet and talk with some other people that are coming from across the country. And a big surprise happened last week when somebody actually offered 4 acres right beside the St. Francis of Assisi Church, right in the middle of the Kentucky Holy Land. Let me just look and see if I can find that on a map. It's actually about like right here in this area. So it's surrounded by all of these churches, all of these places. And it's going to act as kind of the central location where people like can actually camp out. They could bring a tent, a camper, maybe even a sleeping bag, and just camp here for that weekend. And it's right beside that church, of course. And yeah, you're going to have on Friday that kickoff mass. I haven't confirmed anything yet. Let's just say it might be like at the biggest church in the area. You can probably guess which one that is. Of course, the Proto Cathedral. Hopefully that works out well. If you're listening from there, yeah, that's my invitation. But on Saturday, it's going to be kind of like broken up. So, of course, you're going to maybe have the big crowd together on Friday, like have a dinner after. But on Saturday, it's going to have all these activities at all these different places, speakers giving talks at different churches, and people are allowed just to go and do what they want. If they want to hear a talk about American history, they can go to that. If they want to hear a talk about faith, the Bible, they can go to that talk, and just tie it all together to allow them to experience this awesome idea for patriotism and faith. And on Sunday, there's going to be a Eucharistic procession to Holy Cross. Also not confirmed. I don't want to throw that on the pastor there. But yeah, this St. Francis camp is just 3 miles away from Holy Cross. And so I was thinking, like forever when I was first imagining this conference, how on earth are you going to park cars for hundreds of people at this Holy Cross church that just has like 20 parking spaces? Like, that's probably not going to work. We're going to have to figure out something. Then all of a sudden there's this idea for a camp that allows, of course, cars to be parked there and to maybe like have ride sharing and all of that. And so I think it's going to work out perfectly. Probably a lot of things will go wrong, but it will go well in the end. And I knew this video would last a little longer if I went into those details, but there's no registration yet. I'm kind of withholding because I don't exactly know all of the details and like confirmation of places and all of that, but it definitely will be June 12th through June 14th. You can expect more information coming soon on this Facebook page, Kentucky Holy Land Catholics. We also have a website, KentuckyCatholics.com. Go look that up. If you have any questions or want to get involved with this, I've had all kinds of people like reaching out and say like, how can I get involved? Would this help? Do you need this? And just things like that. We can definitely use like just different businesses, different organizations. There's going to be a need for a lot of people to actually like participate and kind of manage maybe that camp and things like that. And I think it's going to be well. We have a wonderful history and it's worth remembering. May God bless you, and may God bless the Kentucky Holy Land, the Sacred Heart of Jesus for the world for the Sacred Heart.